Back to the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Let's talk about Benjamin Sesko. There are two things here, a fantasy and reality. The fantasy is Arsenal go and sign Alexander Isak for 100 million or 110 million and we live happily ever after. The reality is that Benjamin Sesko is the 70 million pound signing that would make more sense financially and is a big target for Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta is a big admirer for Benjamin Sesko. We don't know why, but we know that he's a big admirer of Benjamin Sesko. Now, Sami Makpo from the Daily Mail has come out and said, if you're an Arsenal fan, you will, expect a lot of stories around Newcastle's Alexander Isak. Mikel Arteta likes him, and it's a deal that would really make a lot of sense for a club that is looking to make a statement on the transfer market. However, the realistic option that you are going to end up with 100% this summer is Benjamin Sesko. What I want to do in this video is talk about Benjamin Sesko's deal. I also want to compare Benjamin Sesko with the other strikers that we have on our list and ask you and myself a question. Why Sesko? Why Sesko over Victor Gyökeres? Why Sesko over Matheus Cunha? Why Sesko over maybe Lautaro Martinez? And why Sesko over all these players that we could sign for around 70 million pounds? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Benjamin Sesko realistically is the deal we are going to get 100%. Isak, we want him, we will try, but there is no guarantee that he will end up being an Arsenal player. Now, yesterday I said that Alexander Isak is going to be Arsenal's next big signing, and I still believe so, because for me, you don't say that you're keeping the powder dry, in order to sign Sesko in the summer. I think the reason as to why Arsenal didn't go for Matheus Cunha and Ollie Watkins at 60 million and 70 million respectively was because they felt like there was a big deal to be done in the summer. Now, I respect Sami Makpo and I believe in his stories and I believe in his timeline, but when he says that Sesko is the realistic option, that is also true, right? But it doesn't mean 100% that Alexander Isak is off. And it doesn't mean that his deal is off. So why Sesko makes a lot of sense as a deal? Listen to this. It's a deal that Arsenal have tried to work on last summer, and they got somewhere on both fronts, on RB Leipzig's front and also the players' front as well. We did some negotiations with Benjamin Sesko's camp, and we did some negotiations with RB Leipzig. Secondly, apart from that, Arsenal went back in January to try and sign Sesko, and we did more negotiations on Sesko's side. We did more negotiations on Leipzig's front. So that means that Arsenal have covered a lot of ground on this deal. It would be much easier. There's no question about that. We're about to pay 50 million last summer. This summer, I still believe that Arsenal will pay less than 70 million, because if you pay 70 million for Benjamin Sesko, I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. I think it should be around 60 to 65. That is the real valuation. And that is the whole essence of getting a player like Benjamin Sesko. He's not as expensive as Isak, and you're not going to overpay. You're not trying to get him in January. So getting him in the summer means you're not going to overpay. After all, the player already has an agreement with RB Leipzig that they will let him go this summer if suitable offers arrive. Now, I don't have a problem with Benjamin Sesko as a person and as a player. My only problem with Sesko is him becoming the next Arsenal striker. I mean, when you think about the last 5 or 6 strikers that we have had, we could count Nketiah, we could count Eddie Nketiah, we could count Danny Welbeck, we could count Lacazette, Aubameyang, Florin Balogun, Kai Havertz as well. You think about that line, and you're like, the only striker you can actually identify with, right, as a top forward is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And Arsenal lost Aubameyang when they, when Arteta was cleaning his house. Ever since then, we've not had a proper forward. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus is there too, but we've not had a proper number 9. Sesko is definitely not at the level of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. No question about that. He's not, for me, he's not even at the level of Alexander Lacazette. No. I kind of feel like he would come in, score 18, 19 goals in all competitions, end of story. I think he comes in, scores 18, 19, 20 goal contributions, 20 goals in all competitions. That's like 14 in the Premier League, 3 in the Champions League, that is 17, and 3 in other competitions, which is not bad, but that's not what we are looking for. That is not what we are looking for. So I understand why Arsenal are going to go for Sesko. And I understand why Sesko has a big chance of putting on that either jersey 14 that was left behind by Nketiah or jersey 9. It will depend on what jersey he gets, or jersey 10. But I don't feel him. I just don't feel it as a signing. I just don't feel it as a deal. So I want us to compare Sesko and all these other guys that are available on the market, right? Because Arsenal said they were keeping the powder dry. That means they were waiting for something big. You don't fail to sign Cunha because you're waiting for Sesko. It doesn't make sense. And I want to first compare him to Cunha, because Arsenal had a small window left where we could sign Cunha, and the deal didn't happen, right? The deal didn't happen. No problem with that. Deal didn't happen. The deal didn't happen for Cunha because we were waiting for something big and a proper striker. I'm going to say this, it could be outrageous, but I think both at Arsenal, as number 9s, Matheus Cunha scores more goals than Benjamin Sesko. It's a little bit weird that I've said that, but I've said it and I'm not going to take it back. I think Cunha scores more goals in an Arsenal jersey with this Arsenal kind of setup than Benjamin Sesko. I think he does. So if I compare him to Matheus Cunha, Cunha has Premier League experience already. He's proven, he's been in the German Bundesliga and he has been in the Premier League too, right? So he's traveled. And I think that he's already scoring goals, more goals, right? In a more difficult league than Benjamin Sesko. He's in his prime, 25, and he's got more experience. And again, the release clause for Matheus Cunha is about 65 million in the summer. So unless Arsenal are saying they're seeing something in Sesko that I don't see, that many people don't see out there, I don't feel him. I just don't feel him, honestly. I don't feel him. There's a lot of hype around Sesko in January. Did buy into it. It was a lot of crap. So for me, Cunha is better than Sesko. That's number 1. Victor Gyökeres. The question. No question. Victor Gyökeres is a much better player in terms of a number 9 than anyone on this list, including Alexander Isak. And I've said it before and I've said it again. If I was choosing just number 9, not general forward play, but number 9, I would go with Victor Gyökeres over Alexander Isak. I think at some point in time, Isak will look to, compromise. I think Gyökeres doesn't compromise. I think he's ruthless as they come. The total packaging, sniper, fox in the box. Now, if I was to compare Sesko with Victor Gyökeres, the only advantage that Sesko has on Victor Gyökeres is time, and he's also playing in a more difficult league. That's the only thing. But apart from that, I think Gyökeres is a machine that is well-oiled, a machine that is ready to start cutting down. Whatever it's going to find in its path, it will cut down. So Gyökeres, for me, is better than Sesko. Scoring goals, center forward play, and everything. Alexander Isak. Do we have to? Do we really have to compare Sesko and Isak? Because for me, we don't, right? Isak is in his prime, proven in Spain, proven in the Premier League, lethal striker, very quick, very talented, and that's why he's expensive. I think Sesko is in real value 45 million worth. Isak is in real value 100 million worth. That's the truth. So Isak is a no-brainer. Only Watkins. Now, with Watkins and Sesko, Of course, you've got to look at the resale value and the length of the careers. I think Watkins is like 4 years good to go, and Sesko is like 9 years good to go. That's the advantage. But if I want impact and I want to win, just like Bayern did, like they went and said, we need 30 goals, Hurricane, boom, 100 million. Like that, right? If I want such kind of a mentality, if that's the kind of mentality that Arsenal had, it's Watkins, no question. So Sesko is better than Watkins because of longevity on his career. He's got a lot of green time, while Watkins has exhausted much of his time. Dusan Vlahovic and Sesko, I don't want to disrespect Sesko, but I think Vlahovic is still better. Ivan Ferguson, Sesko is better than Ivan Ferguson right now. He's better than Ivan Ferguson. He's getting game time and he's scoring some goals, so he's better there. So I want you to let me know what you think about Sesko. More realistic, yes, but is he the best we could get? I'll do a video on Victor Gyökeres where I think is the best we could get, but doesn't really matter much. Looks like Arsenal are focused on Benjamin Sesko.